Welcome, welcome. It's Mud Dog with the Texas Space Navy bringing you another Star Citizen video. And today we're talking about Star Citizen Live, April 10th, 2020. This video was done in black and white with Dave Haddock, Will Weizenbaum, and Adam Weezer. And of course, Disco Lando. This is the lore team. And it was, pretty interesting. They did not go into great detail on a lot of the lore, but they did brush on several different topics. Starting off with the Galactopedia app that is supposed to be in-game eventually, where you'll be able to pull that up on your mobiGlas or some such and access all the records, history, whatever you might need that there might be out there on a subject or topic or place or person. So that could be very useful to have in-game. It's also very useful out of game. I might need to do a video on the Galactopedia. You can access that from the RSI website. It is updated very regularly by Cherry Heiberg. She's an archivist, which means she's very good at doing those exact things. She keeps track of all the records that everybody puts out there, especially the lore team, but also the stuff that's kind of hidden from our view about concepts and different things like that for the dev team. So they talked about the cryptic messages of 3.7 that you heard at Port Olisar and I believe at Area 18. They said that has not had the big payoff yet. In other words, there's more to the story than those cryptic messages. We're going to find out eventually. My guess is in 3.9, but they didn't really say specifically when we would find out the rest of the story. But if I had to guess, it would be 3.9. They did talk about the lore of Earth because we don't know much about what has happened with Earth from now until the time in the future there in 2950. They said it was overpopulated, which led to a lot of, crime and pollution, etc., the typical stuff. And that led to a need for terraforming technology. They decided to terraform Mars, which led to expanding further into the stars and also, to help deburden some of that overpopulation. Earth has been recovering ever since. Then they talked about the lore politics of 2950, the election, where we have the 10 candidates or whatever that are going for the head office of the UEE. They kind of went into how the one writer that's been writing all of these characters, he does it from their point of view, and that helps him develop the perspective for their platforms and all of that. They did say that the players will help influence the outcome of this election, even if it means that the worst of the worst gets elected. They even have one guy in there that's very much a secessionist, or if you want to say that, or he just wants the UEE to disband and each system kind of become their own entity, like a system state. And that would kind of be the worst case scenario for the UEE. Maybe. Some people might disagree. I don't know. But they said if, something like that happens where that guy gets elected, they would have to deal with it as the lore team or the writing team and come up with ways to deal with that situation, whether it's like an assassination or something along those lines. Now, I will tell you, and this is from my point of view and not from anything in the video, that the players make up 1/10 of the population of the verse. So they could easily say, well, this guy got 1/10 of the vote, but it wasn't enough to get elected. Somebody else got elected. So they could easily get around, electing somebody like that if they really wanted to. So keep that in mind. I know that would be a cop-out, but that is definitely within the realm of possibility. They did say that players are intended to be able to affect lore in a lot of different ways within the verse, including big things such as bringing down the Dread Pirate Roberts, which they talked about, which would make you go down in infamy. or you would be, you would be a hero in the Galactopedia, so to speak. Also, discovering jump points can get your name in the game, so to speak, and other major milestones, which they're kind of supposed to be rare, but they can happen. They mentioned Jumptown being one of them, with the Jumptown Wars. And then also, they did not mention it, but I will, the Daymar Rally. That has become a staple of lore. My organization, Texas, has definitely got something planned to try to become something in lore, you could say. We'll see if it pans out. It's in the early planning stages, so we'll have to find out if it works out for us or not. But definitely great inspiration to hear that in this video. So what else did they go over? They went over Tony Z's Quanta simulation, and when it enters the game, how it will affect the lore. So if one part of the system is kind of crime-ridden, then there will be a call for bounty hunters to come in and take down a lot of these outlaws. Once that happens, that part of the system will become profitable again, and you will even see the area clean up. If it's normally kind of like a dirty, rundown, grungy area, it might get cleaned up a little bit and look nicer, and the people may look a little different and act different. So it could affect all sorts of things, and they'll have a story to ride along to go with it. That's some of the bigger play of the multiplayer part of the verse that the lore team will be influenced by. During all this time, the chat decided to have their own conversation, and it was on parachutes and whether or not that should be in a space game. And after about 10 minutes or so, they largely came to the conclusion it shouldn't be. I personally disagree. I still think there's all sorts of use for parachutes or some sort of, anti-gravity or gravity-defying repulsors, something for the personnel to jump from high altitudes or any altitude and make a safe landing. But that's just me. That's another topic of discussion to have at a later time. They went into a little bit of the lore of the Stanton system and each of the planets. ArcCorp was the very first planet that was bought. It was bought the Senate put it up for sale, more or less, and because they didn't have any money. And ArcCorp was bought, and it took about 80 years for them to build it up to what it is now with all the buildings and stuff. They said they probably used a bunch of prefab buildings, hangars, storage facilities, warehouses, etc. That's why it was able to be built up so quickly, because it was a relatively flat planet as well. They did say they may have to reinvest some time into the lore of that because it really hasn't been talked about, and they kind of only have some hand-wavium in there at the moment. ArcCorp is very industrial, and that's kind of the look and feel that they wanted for it. Hurston, on the other hand, is grungy and dirty, and they don't care about their employees. They're pretty much slaves or indentured servitude servants that work for them. So they were, that's the way it's supposed to look and feel. And Microtech's kind of preppy, nice place to live. It's kind of like Google in a lot of respects. Crusader, on the other hand, is probably the best corporation to work for out of those four. They truly care about their employees, and it's almost to the point that it affects their bottom line. It's really a nice, good company to work for. They're good people, so expect Crusader to be the good guys in the game. That's the way the lore team has portrayed them. They also have Grim Hex in the talk as well, how it used to be a mining station before it got shut down, and then outlaws and pirates moved in and kind of made it their own. They plan on using or reusing the Grim Hex assets elsewhere in the verse to create an actual working mining station, so we can expect that in the future, because the company did own that station at one point, and they probably have some working stations elsewhere that we will encounter eventually in other systems. And that should do it for Star Citizen Live for this week. Again, my org information is listed down below. You can check that out in the description if you're interested in joining the org. We also have a Discord. You can join that. If you're new to the game and you're interested in signing up, please use my referral code. That's going to be listed down below as well. You get 5,000 bonus credits in-game if you use that, so you'll be somewhat rich to start out. And I will get credit as well. That'll help me go up the referral ladder, so I would certainly appreciate it. Thank you all for viewing my videos. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that little bell icon to let you know when I do more of these. I'm Mud Dog with the Texas Space Navy, and I'll see you out in the verse.